Hello everybody, my name is Zool, and welcome to modding Fallout New Vegas using Mod Organizer. Now, one thing absent from my channel is the New Vegas mods. I haven't really been covering them as much as I've been covering things like Skyrim, Fallout, and Oblivion, and a couple of people have asked me to create a guide for New Vegas. So I did a bunch of research, and that's what this series is. It's going to be a, 10 to 12 part series. We're going to be installing mods. As always, if you'd like to see this series continue, if you want to see more things with Fallout New Vegas, you want the series to go longer, leave a comment down below, hit the thumbs up button, all that kind of stuff. It really helps. I know it's annoying that I say this at the beginning of the video, but there you go. So we're going to get off right away by installing a bunch of mods. In today's episode, we're going to get the game set up for modding, so we're going to be doing a lot of performance tweaks, stability, and just getting the game into a place which is a nice, stable modding platform. Now that I've talked for like a minute and wasted your time, let's get right into the video. The first thing that I recommend anyone do when following these guides to installing mods is to get a completely fresh copy of your game. Now, the easiest and most successful way to do this is to completely reinstall Fallout New Vegas. This is going to make sure that we don't have any files that are kind of hanging around, left behind from another modding attempt, which can cause problems later on. Now, in order to do this, just go up to your Steam, select Fallout New Vegas, and you can just hit the uninstall button, which will delete the files right there. After that, you need to head over to Steam, Steam Apps Common, scroll down until you find the Fallout New Vegas folder, and what you're going to do is delete that. You can also go ahead and go to your documents, which will be in this PC Documents, and you're going to go ahead and look for a folder called My Games. In My Games, there will be another folder called Fallout NV. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and delete all of those files. Those are the ini files, they're the settings for your games. We want those to be reset as well. Now that everything has been completely removed, you can go back to Steam and install the game completely fresh. Now, I would highly recommend that you install this outside the programs file / program files x84 folder. This is a very bad place to use Mod Organizer. It's going to cause problems. If you don't know how to do that, you can create a new library in your Steam when you're installing, so go to the drop-down menu and select pretty much anywhere outside. In my case, I'm using D/Steam as my directory, which is in my second hard drive, so I don't need to worry about any problems there. While we're waiting for the game to install, there is actually some things we can do, and that is install some of the utilities that we're going to need to go along with our modding tutorial. And the first thing we're going to go ahead and download is Loot, the load order optimization tool. You're going to need to have this downloaded and installed in order to actually sort up your load order and do things like that. It's going to make it a lot easier. So go to the link in the description, and we're going to go ahead and download the latest version of the Loot installer, which we can see right here is loot.installer.exe. Click on the download button and it will begin downloading Loot. While we're at it, you can also head over to the Skyrim Nexus. Yes, the Skyrim Nexus, don't worry, to download Mod Organizer. To do this, simply go to the link in the description, head over to the Files section, scroll down, and you're going to want to download the Mod Organizer version 1.3.1.1 installer. Don't worry about the full manual version, we're going to be using the installer version for this tutorial. Go ahead and download that as well. If it gives you any sort of error like that, don't worry, it is a perfectly safe file, you can keep it. After that, there is one more thing we're going to download right now, and that is the New Vegas Script Extender, or NVSE. Head over to nvse.silverlock.org and download the beta version of NVSE. Don't worry, it's perfectly stable. You can use this one. Alright, once the game's installed, we're going to go ahead and launch it up here. This is going to give us a launcher, and it should give you this message that it's going to detect your hardware and video settings. This is it generating the INI files. You can see I'm at ultra high quality. We're then going to go into the option just to make sure that the resolution is correct, because in my system for some reason it always defaults to a very small resolution. Now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and change things to whatever we want them to be at. I'm just going to leave this all as it is. As long as I have the correct resolution, I should be fine, and I'm going to hit OK. Now that we've done that, let's just launch the game up once just to make sure that everything is fully generated. And then we're basically going to immediately quit out of the game again after this. This is again just to make sure that all the files are there before we start the modding process. Okay, now that the game's installed, we can go ahead and start to work on some of those files we downloaded earlier. If you recall, we downloaded NVSE, Mod Organizer, and Load Order Optimization Tool, aka Loot. We're going to start off by taking the loot.exe or whatever that we brought to our desktop and running this. And we're basically just going to go ahead and install this program. It's going to ask us our language and all that kind of stuff. You can choose where to install it. I like to install all of my modding tools in my D drive. So I'm going to go to, not E, D, and I'm going to click on Utilities, Loot, and then I'm going to hit Next. It's going to ask if you want a desktop shortcut. I'm not going to worry about that, but I am going to let it go through all the additional files and stuff. This will only take a moment, and then we can move on to the next step. It's going to ask us if we'd like to restart our computer. You can go ahead and do that now if you'd like, or you can wait until we install the next two programs and then perform the restart. Now, the NVSE file that you downloaded will be in a 7Z folder. We're going to need to extract that using 7-zip, which is my preferred archiving tool, by right-clicking on it and extracting it. You'll see that it goes into a folder right here, which I'm going to open up. Please don't be alarmed by this. I'm just using tabbed folders to make things look a little bit nicer on the screen. As you can see, we have the NVSE beta folder opened up. So I'm just going to select all of this, ignoring the source code, because we don't really need that. I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to go to my Fallout New Vegas folder. This is located in Steam, Steam Apps Common, Fallout New Vegas. This is going to be in the same location as the Fallout NV launcher, the Fallout NV.exe, and all that kind of stuff. If you don't have the .exe, please check out my video on how to show extensions for known file types. That'll be linked in the description. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and paste NVSE into this folder. And now that we've done that, we're just going to close out of the NVSE Beta 2 folder. We don't need that anymore, and minimize it. And we can clear this off our desktop. Now we can go ahead and install Mod Organizer. Remember, this is the file you downloaded from the Skyrim Nexus. Go ahead and click on this. It should be version 1.3.11. Go ahead and hit Next. Agree to the licensing agreement. From here, there's going to be a bunch of different options. What I like to do is I like to make sure that it handles Nexus links, since I use this for all of my mods. And I'm also going to turn off tutorials because I have no need for that to be there for me. However, if you're not very familiar with Mod Organizer, if you need a refresher, you can leave that on. After that, hit Next, and it's going to ask us where we would like to install it. Now, just like our New Vegas, we don't want this to be inside the Program Files x86 folder because that can cause some problems. I like to keep this Mod Organizer inside the game folder that I am modding. So in this case, we're going to go to Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and we are going to select Fallout New Vegas, and we're going to click OK, and you'll see that it is now making a new folder called Mod Organizer inside our Fallout New Vegas folder. Then I'm going to hit Install. This will only take a few moments, but I will cut ahead to when it's done. And there we are. Now the reason we installed NVSE and Loot beforehand is because now they will show up in our Mod Organizer by default, and it will default to NVSE. This is how we're going to be launching the game from now on. You are not going to be clicking on the icon or clicking on the play button in Steam. From now on, if you want to play New Vegas, you're going to launch Mod Organizer, make sure that NVSE is selected, and hit the Run button. Now there's a couple of things we need to do right now that have to do with the order of the files in here and some settings that we need to mess around with. So let's tackle that right now. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my Nexus login information. You can do that by hitting this button here, which is Settings, going over to Nexus, and then selecting Automatically Log into Nexus. So I've gone ahead and I've typed in my username and password there, and now we can just go ahead to the next thing. If you want to have it automatically log you into Steam, you can, but I personally don't find the need for that. I'm almost always logged into Steam. Going over into plugins and workarounds, there's nothing we really need to worry about at this point in the video, so we can go ahead and move on to ordering our files correctly. I'm going to put a thing on screen right now, which is going to kind of show you the priority order that you need things to be in. So you should set yours to the same way. Okay, so New Vegas Mod Organizer is now set up basically the way we need to have it. What we're going to have to do now is set up our INI tweaks, our INI tweaks. These are going to be doing things like disabling mouse acceleration, making the game run better, making the game look better, and preventing crashes. So this is fairly important to do. Before we do any of that though, we're going to go ahead and just create ourselves a brand new profile. I like to create a new profile. I just don't like using the default one. I don't know why. I like having it named something. So for this one, we're going to create a new profile, and we're going to call it Zool New Vegas. You can really call it whatever you want, but that's what we're calling it in this guide. Click OK, select that one, and select Automatic Archive and Validation. From there, we can hit Close. Then we need to actually select that profile like this. It may uncheck our DLC, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and select that. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and delete the default profile because we don't need it anymore. Now, from this point forward, we're going to need to do some INI tweaks. Now, normally to do that, you're going to click on this button here, you're going to go in, you're going to do a lot of ini tweaking by yourself. Fortunately, we have a tool that is going to reduce the ini tweaks we need to basically only one or two things. And that tool is something called Bethany. Bethany is an ini configurator tool for all the Bethesda games. It currently supports Oblivion, Skyrim, the Special Edition, Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Fallout 4. And it comes from a bunch of research into the step files, so it's going to do a couple of things for you. It's going to make it really easy to modify your ini files. It's going to fix a bunch of errors that can cause crash to desktops. It's going to detect mods you have and make the changes where appropriate. It's going to increase graphical fidelity with its presets, and it's going to back things up. Overall, it's a great tool. That's why we're downloading it. Head over to the file section on the Bethany Skyrim Nexus page. Once again, it's Skyrim Nexus, but it's not a problem. And you're going to download this file manually. This is a portable file, which we have right here on our desktop. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to completely close out of our mod organizer because we don't need it. And we're going to take our Bethany zip file and bring it to our desktop. From here, using 7-zip, the superior archiving tool, we are going to extract it into a folder. This will only take a moment, and then we can put this folder wherever we want. I'm just going to leave it on my desktop for now, and then we can get rid of this because we don't need it anymore. Open up the folder inside the folder, and you'll get a couple of things like this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to launch Bethany.exe. There's also a README file. I highly recommend you check this out. It does cover some fairly important stuff. So click on Bethany. Oh, I guess it's running behind here. Yeah, that's fine. And it's going to ask you to choose your game. Now, in this case, we're using Fallout New Vegas, so we're going to select that. It's going to take a few moments, and then we're going to get something that looks like this. It looks almost exactly like the launcher we saw before. But before we get into actually tweaking some things in here, we're going to go to the Setup option. And because we're using Mod Organizer, we're going to need to tell the game that. So we're going to go ahead and hit the Browse button. From here, we're going to need to navigate along to our Steam Apps Common Fallout New Vegas Mod Organizer folder. In here, there will be modorganizer.exe. We're going to select that and hit Open. After that's been done, we are going to go ahead and select the INI path. We're going to have a drop down here, and there should be an option that says Mod Organizer, little arrow pointing to it, and then it'll be the name of your profile. Remember that profile we called Zool New Vegas? We're going to click on that. And it's going to go ahead and restart Bethany, loading up that INI file, and from there we can make our first set of tweaks. So on the main screen of Bethany, you'll notice that there is a preset section, there's a resolution section, and a couple of other things. What we're going to do is make sure that the Bethany presets are selected, because that's why we're using this, for the better selections, and then we are going to click on the preset of the one that we would like to use. If we mouse over them, we'll see that it kind of shows you what FPS you're averaging. Now, I have a very strong computer, so I am going to go ahead and hit Ultra. Then I'm going to go ahead and select Recommended Tweaks. These are some tweaks that are recommended to most people. You don't need to select a preset for them to work, so I'm going to have Recommended Tweaks, Ultra Settings, and we're good to go. If we go over to General now, we'll see it turned off the intro logos. That's one ini tweak we don't need to do. And with that, you can tweak anything else you'd like to your heart's content, but we're just going to leave it as it is. We're going to trust the Bethany presets and the recommended tweets, and we're going to save and exit. So now that we've done that, Bethany has configured most of the ini tweaks we need to do. We're going to relaunch New Vegas Mod Organizer. And we're going to go ahead and click on these puzzle pieces here and go to the INI editor. And this is because there is one thing that Bethany doesn't do, which I really wish it did, and that is remove the awful mouse acceleration that is in Fallout New Vegas and pretty much all the Elder Scrolls game. Scroll down until you find a section labeled Controls in the Fallout.ini. From here, you're going to paste this little section right here. It is fForegroundMouseAccelBase, AccelTop, AccelBase, AccelMultiply. This is going to be linked in the description, and what this is going to do is remove the mouse acceleration, the thing that makes your mouse feel really floaty when you're playing the game, when you're in menus. It's going to make things really precise. So that's what we're going to have to add. Then we're going to go ahead and hit save. There we go. If we want to make sure that it's done, we can launch it up again, scroll back down, and we'll see that it's there. Now that we've done those ini tweaks, if you ever want to create a new profile, I would recommend copying the profile we just did the ini tweaks on there, because that way we don't need to, create the ini tweaks every single time we create a new profile. With the ini tweaking out of the way, we're going to go ahead and install the Fallout New Vegas 4GB patcher. This is going to allow the game to use more memory. So what we're going to do, head over to the file linked below, and we're going to download manually the FNV 4GB patch. From there, we're going to right click, and using 7-zip, we are going to extract the contents of this file, and we're going to open it up. One thing we also need to have opened up is our Steam Apps Common Fallout New Vegas. We're going to go ahead and grab the Fallout New Vegas patch, which, as you can see, is an executable here. We're going to cut this executable. That's all we need. We don't need anything else. And we are going to paste it in our Steam Apps Common Fallout New Vegas folder. Not the data folder, not the mod organizer folder. This is the one with the launcher and the executable. So go ahead and paste that there, and once it's been done, run it. With all that tweaking finally done, it's time to install our first mod. Now this mod is a mod that just tweaks things. It fixes the double cursor bug, gives you a borderless window, improves priorities, and basically just makes the game run better. It's called One Tweak. We're going to go ahead and download it now. Head over to the file section of the One Tweak Nexus page and click on Download with Manager. It's going to tell you need NVSC, but don't worry, we've already got that one covered. In our New Vegas mod organizer, if we click on the Downloads section over here on the right-hand side, we'll see that One Tweak has been installed. We can double-click to install it. I always like to click Manual just to make sure that everything is on the up and up. We're going to set the data directory to that subfolder. As long as it says looks good, everything should be fine. If you're wondering why I did that, by the way, it's because right now there is a folder inside a folder, and that's the wrong layout, so we set that as the data directory, and then everything is good. So click OK, it will install One Tweak. We're going to check that off. With that mod installed, we can move on to our next one, which is again a bug fix and tweak. This is New Vegas Anti-Crash, and it is a mod that, I don't know if you've guessed this by now, makes it so the game is less likely to crash. It's an NVSC plugin. We're going to go ahead and download this with our manager. While we're downloading things with Manager, we can also go ahead and grab the New Vegas Stutter Remover, something that, surprise, surprise, removes some of the stutter in New Vegas. Download that with Manager as well. Alright, time to install the mods. First up is New Vegas Anti-Crash. Double-click on it, and it should install pretty much immediately. Then we're going to go ahead and install the New Vegas Stutter Remover. As you can see, there's no game data on the top level. We're going to set the data directory. Looks good to me. Click OK. And then make sure it's checked off. Now with the New Vegas Stutter Remover, there is actually an INI file with this that can be tweaked by some users. This can improve your performance and another couple of things there. In order to do this, you need to double click on New Vegas Stutter Remover right here, go to the INI file section, and you'll see you can actually select the INI file here. Now, the changes I'm going to be making to this file are based off of the step guide, so if you have a problem with it, you should take it up with them, but they tend to know a lot more than me. So first up with the master section, I'm basically just going to copy an entire chunk here from the step guide, which I will link in the description, and paste it. Next up is the FPS section. We are going to go ahead and grab this and drop it under FPS management. There we go. Now you'll see the main thing that changed was our maximum FPS. Now I'm using a 60 Hz monitor. Even if you're using a 144 or 120 Hz monitor, you should still set this to 60 FPS because the physics in the Fallout games can be a little bit buggy when things run higher than 60 FPS. It's not really exactly PC Master Race, but if you want things to not mess up, set that to 60. Next up, we're going to scroll down to the heap section, and we're going to replace the big chunk of text here for the heap section. Again, I will link this in the description. Now, I know this video hasn't been exactly the sexiest one, but getting this nice base platform for the game is actually going to be very helpful later on. Things are going to run really stable, and you're not going to run into as many problems as you would if you were just modding things haphazardly. And so to end off this video, we're going to go ahead and install the Yuki Chigai unofficial patch. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I'm terrible at pronouncing words. You can probably tell if you've watched any of my other videos. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and install this unofficial patch. To do this, go ahead to the file section, linked in the description. And since we are using all the DLCs, we're going to go ahead and click on the base game and all DLC option right there. Downloading that. It will start to download here in our mod organizer. I'll cut to when it's done, and then we'll cover the installation. Alright, so this mod, again, really easy to install. As you can see, everything's laid out here manually, so we're just going to go ahead, click OK. It'll extract up those files, and there we go. Now, if you'd like, since this video is ending, you can go ahead and you can actually manage here and create a copy of the profile, and we can call this episode 1 or something like that. This will be useful if you're following along at home and, you know, maybe you want to go ahead because the next video is not out yet, or maybe you want to be able to come back here if you don't like some of the changes I do in the next video. So at the end of each video, you can go ahead and create a new profile, and then we can follow along that way. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you're wondering what to watch next, I have provided 2 videos for you. You can click them right here. Get subscribed by clicking on that circle icon and subscribing to my channel, and please follow myself and Shoelace on the social medias that you see above. Thank you, and have an excellent day.